Imagine a room of mirrors, but not ordinary mirrors that reflect your skin or hair. Imagine mirrors that reflect the intentions behind your actions. You enter this room and see the you who smiles at your neighbor while inside harboring a bitter judgment. You see the you who works diligently when the boss is watching, but who seeks the easiest shortcut when no one is around. This fragmentation of the soul is what modernity calls survival, but what ancient spirituality identifies as the greatest source of human agony, the loss of logos, the truth that orders chaos. Dishonesty, my brother, my sister, begins like a thin mist, almost imperceptible. It's that yes you said when you meant no, to avoid rejection. It's that small omission of an error in the report to avoid losing the bonus. It's the lie told to your spouse about where you were, just to avoid a tiring argument. At first, the mist is light. You can still see the path. But over time, the mist becomes a dense fog. You begin to lose sight of who you were before all those masks. And worse, you begin to fear the sun. You begin to prefer the twilight because in the light, the cracks in your character are exposed. In Hebrew, there is a fascinating term for truth, emet. This word is composed of 3 letters, aleph, mem, and tav. If you look at the Hebrew alphabet, aleph is the first letter, mem is the middle letter, and tav is the last letter. This teaches us a profound lesson in spiritual architecture. Truth is not a part of the path. Truth is the entire path, from beginning to middle to end. If you remove the first letter, aleph, which symbolizes God, unity, what remains is the word met, which means death. Do you grasp the gravity of this? A life without divine truth at the beginning, middle, and end is a life that is dying inside, even if the body continues to function and the pockets remain full. A lack of integrity is a silent hemorrhage of authority. When you know you're being dishonest, your prayer loses its breath. You kneel, but it seems like the words hit the ceiling and bounce back. Why? Because in the court of your own conscience, you know there's a conflict of interest. You're asking for the blessing of the God of truth while clinging to the fruits of lies. It's like trying to run a marathon with your feet tied together. You expend twice the energy to reach half the distance. Consider Jacob's agony, the man whose name meant supplanter, he who grasps the heel, the deceiver. He spent decades running. He ran from the brother he deceived, he ran from the father-in-law who exploited him, but above all, he ran from himself. The night at the ford of Jabbok was not just a struggle against an angel, it was a struggle against his own history of manipulation. The angel asks, "What is your name?" The angel already knew his name, but Jacob needed to confess. He needed to say, "I am the deceiver." Only when he stopped pretending to be Esau to obtain the blessing and acknowledged who he was before God, could his name be changed to Israel. The real blessing only comes when the mask falls. As long as you are pretending to be someone else, God will be blessing someone who doesn't exist. Often we justify ourselves by saying, "But that's how the world is. If I'm 100% honest, I'll be swallowed up." That's the system's biggest lie. The world isn't sustained by lies, it's corroded by them. What sustains reality is fidelity. If the laws of physics decided to lie for a second, the universe would disintegrate. If your heart decided to lie about its rhythm, you would die. Life demands integrity. When you decide to be honest, even at a loss, you are aligning yourself with the fundamental structure of creation. You are saying to the universe, "I trust the author of truth more than the strategies of my own cleverness." And here comes the exegesis of courage. In Proverbs 10:9, the text says, "He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will be found out." The word secure in the original is batash, which gives the idea of someone lying on their back, relaxed, fully trusting that the ground will not give way. Imagine that feeling, laying your head on the pillow and not having any "what if" haunting you. Not being afraid that someone will discover that password, that email, that conversation, that deviation. Integrity gives you a sleep that no medicine can provide. It is the rest of those who have nothing to hide. On the other hand, perverting the paths literally means bending what should be straight. It's creating curves where God placed a straight line, and the text warns, "You will be discovered." It's not a possibility, it's a spiritual law. Lies have an expiration date. They require constant maintenance that drains your creativity, your joy, and your health. Keeping a lie alive is like carrying a corpse on your back. At first it's heavy, then it starts to smell bad, and finally, it ends up infecting you with rot. Let's talk now about the anatomy of a choice. We often believe that the loss of integrity happens in a grand, dramatic event, a cardinal sin that destroys everything in a second. But the truth is more subtle and therefore more dangerous. Integrity dies in the cracks. It dies in that email you answered ambiguously to buy time. It dies in the praise you accepted for work that wasn't yours. There's a term in Greek that I want you to keep in mind: eilikrenia. In the ancient world, in the markets of Corinth, pottery merchants used to hide the cracks in vases with a thin, dark wax. Inside the shop, in the dim light, the vase looked perfect, an impeccable work of art. But the savvy buyer did something different. He took the vase outside and held it up to the sunlight. Under the heat and brightness of the sun, the wax melted or shone differently, revealing the hidden crack. The term eilikrenia literally means judged by the sun. How many of us are vessels of shadow? We function well while the light is controlled, while the environment is favorable, while no one puts us against the sun. But the spiritual life, the path with the Creator, is a path of sunlight. He doesn't want vessels patched with wax. He wants the beauty of the exposed and healed scar, or the solidity of what is whole. The question that echoes in the silence of your room today is, if your life were held against the sun now, what would the light reveal in its cracks? Consider the story of Joseph in Egypt. We often focus only on the colorful robe or the governor's throne, but the moment when eternity decided Joseph's fate was in a locked room in Potiphar's house. He was young, far from home. No one from his family was watching. No one would denounce him. He had the perfect opportunity for a small concession that would make his life as a slave easier. But Joseph said something that should be our daily mantra. How could I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Consider the depth of this. Joseph didn't say, how could I do this and ruin my career? He didn't think about the social cost. He thought about the verticality of his existence. His honesty wasn't for men, it was for higher purposes. And what did he gain from it in the short term? Prison. Integrity often leads us to the grave before it leads us to the throne. If you seek to be honest, to be immediately rewarded by men, you still haven't understood what character is. Character is what you do when you know the only immediate reward will be loss, but you maintain it because you can't live with a fragmented self. Now, stop for a second. Feel the weight of this truth. Perhaps you are living through a moment of imprisonment precisely because you decided to be honest. Perhaps you lost your job because you refused to participate in that fraudulent bidding process. Perhaps you lost friends because you stopped laughing at jokes that belittle others. If this is your case, let me tell you, this prison is the place where God is forging the governor within you. The silence of the cell is where God's voice becomes clearest. Don't trade your peace for convenience. Iron tested in fire becomes steel. The soul tested in truth becomes authority. Modern psychology talks a lot about the dark self, those parts of ourselves that we try to hide even from ourselves. The gospel, however, calls us to integration. When Jesus says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free," he is not just talking about theological doctrines, he is talking about a profound psychological and spiritual liberation. The truth frees you from the fear of being discovered. It frees you from the need to have a prodigious memory to remember which lie you told each person. The truth simplifies life. Imagine the structure of a cathedral. Those immense pillars aren't there just for aesthetics. They carry tons of weight. If one pillar is hollow, the entire cathedral is at risk. Your character is the pillar of your home, your family, your ministry. You can have beautiful stained glass windows, a wonderful choir, and a gold-painted ceiling. But if the pillar of honesty is hollow, everything will collapse on the day of the storm. And storms do come. They don't ask if we're ready. They simply test what is real and what is just a facade. How many families are destroyed, not by great tragedies, but by the termite of daily dishonesty? The father who lies to the mother who hides expenses from the father, the children who learn that the truth is negotiable as long as the outcome is favorable. We are creating generations of wax sellers who cannot stand the sunlight. But today, in this time we set aside for prayer, we will ask for a spiritual sun bath. We will ask that the warmth of God's presence melt all the wax we use to hide our flaws. Don't be afraid of your cracks. What God rejects is not the broken vessel, it's the lying vessel. He remakes the broken vessel on the potter's wheel. He cannot use the lying vessel because it has no support for the truth. If you feel broken today, if you feel your integrity was tarnished at some point in the past, there is hope. Repentance is the act of tearing up the contract with lies and beginning to build upon the rock. It's a painful process, like a broken bone that needs to be put back in place to heal properly. It hurts, but it's the only way to walk firmly again. On this journey we are undertaking, I want you to begin mentally listing right now the areas of your life where the fog of convenience has crept in. Where have you stopped being yes, yes, and started being maybe it depends? Where has your honesty been sacrificed on the altar of social approval? Don't blame yourself destructively, but observe yourself honestly. Healing begins with the correct diagnosis. God doesn't heal what you hide, He heals what you present to Him.